Well, good morning, my lovely sweepy heads. Guess what? It's time to get ready to do a little bit of math. The type of math that you're going to need if you're going to take the GED or any of the high school equivalency tests, the ASVAB, which you need for the military, regardless of what branch you're going to go to. Try to get that above that 31 score. The Accuplacer to help you go into the college realm so they can figure out which level of math you need, because there's no escaping. Just because you graduated high school doesn't mean that you're going to escape that, right? Unless you're already taking an AP class and you're thinking about going to the community college route, you can do that, okay? Then we'll usually forego the Accuplacer. And if you're thinking about taking your TEAS test and you need a lot of that prep work to prepare to get yourself accepted into the nursing program, then this is the live for you. For those that don't know me that are coming in, my name is Audrey Codner and I'm the owner of Math by Audrey, as well as the ACG Math Tutoring. And what I was is 22 years of being a classroom teacher, and I just completed 6 years of my online tutoring business, that I basically reached out to a lot of those 30 plus people that are really trying to basically score well and go back to education. And trust me, a lot of people like to say, oh, there's like a summer slide, there's a gap. And yeah, summer slide, that's a couple of months. Let's turn that couple of months to a few years that you have seen this math. And now you're trying to take a test and trying to use the stuff that you did in the past to help pass this test. And as the result, you're just not there. You're close to it or you're far from it, and you're just like, look, if I can pass this test, now I can do what I need to do. I love when possible scams are calling me. Okay, so this is how we're actually going to do it. I'm going to show you some basic concepts that you can probably take that information, one, see how I teach and educate, two, actually learn a skill and make sure maybe you might feel a little strong about it, okay? But my whole thing is I'm really showing you the premise of what I put in the design of my books. My book is called Algebra at Your Pace. Because the one thing that a lot of people going back to school will say is that the pace of the class is so fast. I feel like I'm constantly learning a whole lot in 1 hour, hour and a half class, and I feel completely lost. I'm feeling completely overwhelmed, and I make sure it makes me want to just quit. So to alleviate that and to really bring you back to math education, I designed the book to go from the very beginning in the terms of numbers all the way up to including the rational functions. So you're actually looking at all the things that you need in order to pass the GED and to raise your score with the ASVAB, as well as the Accuplacer, to see if I can get you at least up to college algebra level. So what we're going to be looking at today is like the equation of the line, y equals mx plus b. Everybody knows that, they have it memorized, but for some reason, they just can't get the two things that you need, slope and the y-intercept, okay? So we're going to look at first at slope. So let me switch over to the magical world of slope. All right. So we're told to find the slope. Sometimes they're very blunt like this. This is going to be considered a 1 point, possibly a 2 point question if you're doing the GED. So the reason why you have to remember what is slope. Now slope is gradient. So if I may add a side note, let me tell you when I'm talking about gradient. So when you're traveling, sometimes you may see a sign that looks like this, and they'll say, and there'll be like a truck. I know, my pictures, my drawings is hilarious, okay? And it'll give you a percentage. Okay, it might say 20%, it might say 80%, okay, whatever it is. They're telling you how steep is the mountain that you're about to achieve, okay? They're telling you the gradient, how steep is the line. So that's basically what slope is. With slope, you have 4 different types. You can have a positive slope, and how you read it from left to right, it is increasing. So as your x's are increasing, so are your y's. So if you're not sure about the whole XY type thing, you're basically a coordinate. Let me even back up even further. A coordinate grid is basically 2 number lines intersecting at a common point, which is 0. So as you are increasing your x's, from to the right you're going to your positive, to the left you're going to your negative. For the y values, you're going up, that's positive, you're going down, that's negative. So as you can see, as my x's are increasing, my y values are also increasing. Hence, you're going to have a positive slope. Now, you can also have a positive slope going like this, and you can also have a positive slope going like this. Okay? The difference between these 3 lines is its gradient. Okay? So the difference is their gradient. They used to say b mx plus b, but now some of you guys are saying mx plus c. Must be a new thing. Alright? So now, that's your positive. Now we have our negative slope. So for negative slope, again, this is your x, this is your y values. From your slope, your line from left to right, your line is going downwards. So that means as my x's are increasing, my y values are decreasing. So again, you can have a slope going like this. You can have a negative slope going like this. Okay? The variance is depending on how steep is your line. Now, if I see a hill that's this steep, that's not too bad. You know, think of a treadmill. When you put it on a level 1, level 2, okay, I could do this. All right, I'm walking. But compared to a level 15, you're holding on to that treadmill for dear life. You're like, why do I need to climb the stairs of heaven? I don't understand. Okay, so that's basically what you're doing with. If you understand how you do the incline of the treadmill, that's your steepness, that's your gradient, that's your slope, or some people like to call it rate of change. Hello, Miss Lewis, how are you? All right, now the next one that we have, because remember I told you there's 4 of them. Oops. Okay, so the next one is a 0 slope. So 0 slopes are horizontal lines. And 0 slopes are only crossing the y-axis. Okay? So it's only crossing the y-axis. So that means your x value is going to be 0. Okay? So when you have a 0 slope, they're going left to right, horizontal. The other one is a vertical. So this is a undefined slope. Vertical only goes through the x-axis. Okay, this is called undefined because if I take each of the point of this line, all of them will have the same x values. And when you have a repeating x value, it's not a function. Okay, I talk more about this, about functions, in my book for volume number 2. Okay, I speak a lot about functions and relations. So when it's up and down, okay, that's undefined. Think of the treadmill. If I was on the treadmill that went straight up, what would happen to me? I would take one step of it, can fall completely on the ground. It's because we have something called what? Gravity. So yeah, not possible. You won't be able to be on that treadmill, okay, unless you're out of space. Do I have? Yes, I do. Yep, Math by Audrey. You can find it right there because that's where I put all of my replays. Okay. So, positive slope, left to right, increasing. As your x's are increasing, so are your y's. For negative slope, from left to right, decreasing. As my x's are increasing, my y's are decreasing. So they're doing the flipsy flops. 0, left to right, straight line, horizontally. Okay? Think of the horizon. Now, vertical lines, which give me an undefined slope. That's straight up and down, vertical. Okay? Those are your 4 different types of slopes. So what we're going to do is, instead of giving the line first off, we're going to look at 2 ordered pairs. So in order for us to figure out our gradient or our rate of change from this point to this point, you don't have to graph. There is a formula. Okay? You don't hate math. You just hate how math makes you feel because you didn't have anyone to explain it to you. Stay tuned. I will convert you. All right? So in order for us to figure out our slope, we have 2 points. And if we know that points always goes x, then y. So in order for us to define which of the x and y's we're talking about, we put what's called subscript numbers. So this, since I read from left to right, this will be my first point. So you got your 1 and your 1. That's what the ones are for. They're saying this is your x and y value of the first point that I want to use. There you go, Miss Weasel. Now, here's my second point, right? Ready? Subscript 2, subscript 2. So now we need to find our slope. And this is what gets a lot of people. Like, oh, what's the formula for slope? It has to be this one way. Nope. There's 2 ways of finding slope. Ready? Well, using 2 points. Slope is basically the change of your y's over the change of your x's. The triangle is a Greek symbol meaning delta. I don't know where my sorority sisters out there, but there we go. Okay, that's the Greek symbol named delta. So the way that you find your slope, you can do it one of 2 ways. If I'm looking at change, and I know if you've been with me, especially for the past week, I was talking about certain words have certain operations. Change is similar to difference. Difference is subtraction. So we are subtracting our y's. So most famous one is usually your y2, as everyone says, minus your y1. Proper saying is y sub 2 minus y sub 1. Then you have your x sub 2 minus your x sub 1. Reason why you want to make sure that your second point and then your first point are being represented. This is why some people get with this pattern. Now, there's a reason why I don't like teaching it this way. This might work in other countries that reads from right to left, but it's really hard for people who read normally from left to right. Because this is what happens. You will fill in the right formula. Perfectly fine. So most of us will do this. Okay, my y2, I come here, y2 is 12. Beautiful thing. Minus my y1. y1, boom, is 7. See, isn't it nice when it's nice and labeled? But then this is what happens. This is what happens. Drives everybody nuts. Then all of a sudden everyone wants to start with the x1 minus the x2. Then you would say negative 3 minus 5. No. Keep with the rhythm, people. Find the rhythm in the music, okay? You're going to stay in that same pattern. So that's why we need to go back to the 5 now, because that's my x2 minus my x1. Why did I put parentheses around my negative 3? Here we go. Because here's another mistake a lot of people do. They will put the 5 and they will just write minus 3. No, you're not minusing a 3, you're minusing a negative 3. So that's why right here, someone asked me this yesterday, that when you minus a negative, it's the same as saying a negative times a negative, okay? Which turns into a positive. Okay. Yep, you would multiply. But I'm multiplying the negative with the negative, not the 5, just the sign with the sign. Okay? That's the only multiplication we're doing right here. So now, let's finish it out. Numerator, 12 minus 7, that gives me 5. 5 plus 3, that gives me 8. So what you just found is your rate of change, your gradient. It's going to be at 5/8. Okay? Okay? But see, here's my thing. You're going to take it eventually. But now you got a person to help you out. Now you got some books that you can use to kind of help you out with this. Yep, that's the slope. That's the slope. So now I said that there's another way. Like everything in math, there's more than one way to do things. Let me raise this up a bit because I want you to see the whole thing. So remember we talked about the change of x over the change of y. Change of y over change of x. Since I'll speak for myself. Since I'm here in the States and we normally read from left to right, you can do the same thing. So I'm doing my subtraction of my y1 minus my y2 over my x1 minus x2. So let's see. y1 is 7 minus my y2 is 12. Then I go back to the first point, which is negative 3 minus 5. So now I have 7 minus 12 again, but this time it's a negative 5. Think about it. If you want to really look at this, it should read 7 plus negative 12. Okay, that minus sign is acting as a negative for the 12. Okay, not the 7, the 12. So when you think about it, someone owed you $12, they paid you 7, now they owe you 5. Over, now we have negative 3 plus negative 5. You hear how I say it? Because sometimes the integers is what throws people off. So if anything, instead of thinking of subtraction, think of it as addition, but attach the minus sign to the following number. Okay? So negative 3 plus negative 5. So think about it. Someone owes you $3. Now, for some reason, they're ending up owing you additional $5. That means they owe me $8. Okay. Now, key thing is, Marina. Okay. So now we have a negative divided by a negative. Okay. A negative divided by a negative will give me a positive. So we still get the answer of 5/8. Okay. You like the first way better? Okay. Because you're used to the first one. No one's ever showed you that there's another way. Okay, it still comes out positive, still comes out exactly the same. So obviously, you guys are going to be like, yeah, I like the first way better because that's how you were taught. But sometimes going from just left to right may work as well. All right, okay, it's fine. Everyone's like, it's got to be one way. Nope, it doesn't. Life doesn't go that way. All right. But the thing is, you're going to get the same answer for slope. All right. All right. So now, when we're thinking of getting the equation, okay, like we said, anytime they say find the equation of the line, this is what they're talking about. Y equals mx plus b. Okay. Anytime they're talking about equation of the line, they're talking about y equals mx plus b. So your m is your slope. Your b is your y-intercept. Easiest way for me to remember, and especially for graphing, because that's what gets a lot of you, is the graphing. Because this is the first thing that everyone asks. I don't know where to start. Like, I don't know where to start when it comes to like graph the equation line. I don't know where to start. Well, now you will. This is where you start. You always start at the y-intercept. So whatever your constant is, I know most of you guys say a C. I was raised by putting a B. It's your y-intercept, okay? All right? This is where you start, whatever your constant is. Your slope is basically giving you direction. Okay, so the slope is to help you with giving you direction to the next point. I know my handwriting is horrible, but it's first thing in the morning. Okay, okay, get so lost, exactly. So no matter where, no matter what, this is your direction. That's not where you start. You always start at the constant. Okay? You always start at the constant. So let me give you a couple brief examples and then we're going to look at graphs. Okay? So if I gave you the equation is y equals 1/3 x minus 7. Where do you start? Okay. I do not have a set time. It's just like whenever I can get things done, I just come on. And I think your best bet will be just to follow me and to turn on notifications when I come on. Okay. Sorry I had to be so vague. Okay. So Nikki, hello Nikki, welcome back. You coming in late. That's all right. Actually, I'm later than I was yesterday. with the y. Okay, where am I starting? Like, what is my number? So Nikki said 7. Trying to solve a y. Nope, you don't have to solve anything. Nope. Okay. Clement, hello Clement, how are you? It's saying -7. Okay, hello Susan, how you doing? Okay, Miss Lewis saying -7. The Faith, yes. Okay, girl interrupted. You're saying the 1/3. God bless. Down 7. Clement, I see you. Faith saying the 1/3. Okay, nope, we're not adding, we're not solving. Because I think you got here towards the end. We're not solving. Okay, we're just wanting to know if we were to graph this, where would you start? Okay. Okay, Clement on the x-axis, I got you. Okay, and if you're not sure, put a question mark. Okay, put a question mark in the chat. Okay. Yep, we're going to graph soon. It's going to happen. This type of problem. Well, you're not running away because you're still here. And I'm only a year older than you, so come on. All right, thank you, Susan. Okay, Alex is saying 0, -7. Lily's saying that -7. Okay, Madeline, thank you so much. Thank you for the follow. Okay, the flawed goddess saying -7. Girl interrupted still with the 1/3. All right, I see you, Alex. So here's my thing. Think about how it matches up. We have our y. We have our equals. The coefficient of the x is your m, and your m is your slope. Then we have to look at the b, or the c as you guys are learning it. You got the plus b, but now we have a minus. So this right here, that's your starting point. Okay, that's your starting point. And where do you start? You start on the y-axis. Since it is intercepting the y-axis, that's why they call it the y-intercept. Okay, and the lines, remember the graphs that we saw? When I said it only crossed at the y-axis, we're not saying the slope is 0, but where they're crossing, that's the y-intercept. This is when your x value is going to be 0, and then your y value is where it crosses the y-axis. So that's why you were seeing Alex and Lily naming the y-intercept as an ordered pair, which is 0, -7. Okay, so it's named as a point with the x value at 0, and it's crossing the y value at -7. Now, this is where you start on the graph. This is going to tell you how to move to draw the next point. So here's another saying about slope. Ever heard of rise over run? Yes or no, put in the chat, please. Rise over run. Have you heard of that? Yes or no? Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of yeses. Okay, Steam, yes. You remember that now? Okay, my faith, no. Okay, I got you. Yes. Okay, yes. All right. Now, your rise, think about it. When things rise, it usually either goes up, deflates, it'll go down. So your rise, if it's positive, it's going to go up. If it's negative, it's going to come down. When you run, majority of the time, you're running left and right. So if my run is negative, I go to the left. If my run is positive, I go to the right. Okay? All right, see you, Clement. Now, since we have a 1/3, this is the part that you don't need to freak out because you want your slope to be a fraction. Take a look. We did rise over run. That's a fraction. We did our equation. This is a fraction, okay? So you want your slope to be a fraction to make life easy for you. So if we're saying we have our slope of 1/3, that means my rise, it's going up 1, and my runs is a positive 3, we're going to the right 3. Okay? All right, so remember, your over can be positive or negative. Because when you have, say, a negative slope, I'm going to put that over here, if you ever had like a negative 2/3, that negative is not going to both the numerator and denominator. That's another mistake that a lot of you guys do. The negative picks. Either it's going to go to the numerator or it could go to the denominator. So that means negative 2 over 3, or I can say 2 over negative 3. Okay? That negative sign, I'm going to put the word or in the middle, can go to the numerator or the denominator if it's a negative slope. Because if you put it to both, remember what we did back here? If you put it to both, it's going to end up being positive. Okay? So this is why we do these things. So where do I start? I will start at the -7 on the y-axis. Then I will put a point. Hypothetically, let's say if I solved for m and didn't get a fraction for x, I messed up. Yes? No, you didn't. Because sometimes you can simplify it. Let's say, let me try a different one. Let me slide over to this little area. Can you tell I need to go buy some more paper? Use what we got to get what we want. So if I said y equals 3x plus 4, okay? So where would I start? Right here. That would be my y-intercept. That's my starting point. So the first point I'm making is at 0, 4. So now, this time we have a whole number for a slope. How can I keep the value of 3 but create it so it could be my rise over run? Okay. Put over 1. Yes, not over 0. Over 1. Yes, so the slope is 3. So in order for me to put it in that fraction form and not devalue the number that's there, we can put it over 1. Okay? That's why we put numbers, whole numbers over 1. Because now your rise is 3 and your run is 1. So you're going to go, since it's positive, you're going to go up 3 and over to the right 1. You're so welcome. Okay, there you go. Because there's a lot of people that would be like, I never knew that you want that to be a fraction. Yeah, you do. Okay, when you're solving, it'll be nice for it to be a whole number, but sometimes you are going to get fractions. Don't rush into putting fractions into decimals. Like this one over here, that 1/3, you're going to get 0.33333333333 all the way to infinity, right? That's not going to help you when it comes down to graphing. How can you graph 0.03333333? It's crazy. Ooh, made myself dizzy. Okay, so this is why you want to break these things down. All right, well, thank you, Clement. Appreciate it. All right, what if it was negative? Not a problem. All right, let me use the backhand side. Struggle is real. No, just kidding. All right, so we're going to use, let's say if we have negative, we'll say negative 5x plus 3. Why not? Okay, so I'm going to start on the y-axis. So this is my y-intercept. And I'm going to start at 0, 3. So that's my starting point. So now I'm looking at my slope. So my slope, we have a -5. And if we want to keep it in the form of a fraction, we put it over 1. So that means this is saying I can say one of two ways. So I'm going to put it like this. You can say it one of two ways. We can say -5 over 1, which means I'm going down 5 and over to the right 1. Or I can say 5 over -1, meaning I can go up 5 and to the left 1. Okay, good. All right. Either way, they will be points on the same line. Okay, yep. All right, so now we're going to see if we can pull some information. So again, all this stuff I break down inside my book. So for you guys, since this is slope, this is volume number 4 of my Algebra at Your Pace, volume number 4. So we're looking at linear equations. So this is when you got passing through points, okay, finding the slope, different types of slope. We also did some graphing on it. We look at the different types of slope of how can you tell if you got parallel or perpendicular lines, okay? And then you also have your standard form, okay? So if you need full on detail, all this is a part of my program. Now, so what I'm going to do is really, because I'm not here to teach, I'm here to show. There's a difference. So like when it comes down to like, oh, well, can you just graph it out? I could, but I'm not going to, okay? I'm so sorry. But this is one thing that we will do. Now we understand slope-intercept form. Now we need to figure out how to pull out the equation of the line, and then we're done. So this is an example. I don't want it to fly away because I am. All right. So here we are. We have a graph. And they always like to say, what is the equation of the line? So we have to do a couple of things. Remember, what we need is the equation line, which is y equals mx plus b. So in order for you to find the equation of the line, we need a couple of things. We need our starting point, and we need our slope. So what we did earlier is we actually solved for slope, and we learned how to identify things by pulling it into, well, from the equation line. So now we're going to work in reverse. So first off, this is your y-axis. This is your x-axis. So let's look. For the y-axis, where is this blue line crossing the y-axis? Put it in the chat. Where is that blue line crossing the y-axis? Okay, WC, I see you. Okay, Nifa, I see you. Madeline, I see you. Thank you guys for the follows. Okay, Summer, I see you. True, I see you. All right. One more. Okay. Thank you, WC. Appreciate it. Okay. Molly, good. I see you. Molly, Jermaine, I see you. Nikki, I see you. Good. So it's crossing right here at 0, 0, the origin. So I know when I usually do y-intercepts, we're going to have our zeros. So we're looking at the y value. So here's a point that I can put down. But now I need to find another point on this blue line. And the way that you find another point, you see all the grid marks, okay, the black and white grid marks, the little squares. You want to find something that's going to hit right on the corner of the squares. This one is right in the middle of a square. It's kind of hard to do. But here, we can have a point right here because it hits 1, 2, 3, 4, right in the center of it. Another one is this point right down here. So what we need is at least one point that's on that line so we can figure out our slope. Okay? That's okay. We're taking a look. No, we're taking a look. So I like to start at my y-intercept, which is at 0. And let's say I want to get to this point up here. So in order for me to get from here to here, I have to take a certain path. Now, I like to think of the little blocks as city blocks. So I'm at my house and I want to get to my friend's house. So I have to go a certain way, certain amount of blocks to get to my friend's house. I cannot cut through people's homes just to get to my friend's house. I'm originally from Philly. That's how you get shot. Okay? No. So you have to figure out what is the pattern from here to here. So if I want, I can go up 1, 2, 3 city blocks. So I went up 3. But do not put a point here, okay? You need to do the motion to get to the ocean. So you went up 3, and then you went to the right 1. So you went up 3 and to the right 1. So remember, slope is rise over run. So you rose up 3 and then you ran 1. Okay? So you got to rise out of bed to run to the bathroom in the morning. Or maybe that's just me. All right? So if I were to put this as an equation, I can write it as y equals my slope, which could be 3 over 1x plus 0. You can write that, or you can simplify everything, meaning 3 divided by 1, that could simply be 3. And we know that 0 is a place value. So since 0 is a place value, I don't necessarily need to put it there. So if you ever see y equals 3x or y equals 1/2 x or y equals -4x, that means your starting point, if you don't see a plus or minus something, that means it's 0. Okay? If only you were doing geometry, I'm about to take it's in an hour. Yeah. Well, it's not going to help you if you're going to take the regions in an hour. Hopefully you studied. Okay. All right. All right, you're so welcome. Okay, so all of this is a part of my system. Okay, all of this is a part of my system because, guys, when you're trying to take a test and you're trying to go at it blindly, okay, it's hard for you to say, oh, I'm going to take my GED. They give you a packet and you're like, okay, this is slightly overwhelming. Okay, let me see if I can fight myself through it. And what are you using as a reference? Something that you used, what, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years ago? Hell, I know I can't remember half the things that goes on from this week to last week. Okay, I missed the appointment last week on Friday because I thought Friday was Saturday. All right, I'm not sure if I'm just getting old, but that's where it is. So, if anything, this is why I do the designs of it. Each of them will give you a QR code. You will scan the QR code and it'll give you a playlist, and you just have to follow along as I break all these concepts down step by step. After you do that, you'll get these extra practice problems. Okay, you break it on down, do the best of your ability. The answer's on the very back. And then once you're done, there is a small chapter quiz, 10 questions. Everything that's basically on here. Okay, all right. So the one thing that's different from my notebooks, other than the videos, is that I give you resources on the very back. So there's some things that we do remember, some things we don't. So that's why I give you all of these resources about how to deal with the positive and negatives, how to deal with the decimals, how to deal with the exponents, order of operations, and everything, okay, and everything that's here. So if you are interested, and I also like, since you're doing exponents, I did give you a little flashcards so we can do some extra practice. Everything does not have to be just a whole bunch of practice problems. You can basically take copies of all these, which I did, made them into like little cards. So this side is going to be the questions, whereas this side will be your answers. Okay, so now you got a whole bunch of flashcards that you can quiz yourself. And if you have kids and they're going into algebra, hey, you guys can have some activities. This could be like one table of activity. Then you could probably do like some graphs paper on the other side of the room, so you can do like some movement. Classroom teachers, movement. Not just having them sitting down memorizing. It doesn't work, okay? Now, if you're interested in them, I have everything. Everything is in my profile. So if you go to my profile, usually it should be like right above here, just click on my picture. And when you go into the profile, Math by Audrey, there is a link right here. If anything, everyone should kind of click onto that. Okay, once you click onto the link, it will take you to my stand store. Now, take your time with it, okay? So you got any way that you want to connect with me. If you want to see more of my videos and the replays, you can go here for the YT, okay? Then you have a small video which kind of gives you a tour of it. But then you can do a self-check if you want to do a math check just to see where you're at. You might be better off than you thought you did. Okay, that's completely free. Then here, all my digital downloads. All of these are eBooks. Now, I do have the same books on the A. And I just checked to see if they were going to do any kind of discount for my stuff. No, they don't do discounts on books. So I was like, oh, you can probably do that because it's Prime Week. But this is one of my summer starters. And what you'll get is volume 1, volume 2, and the practice book, which gives you 210 questions. All right. And you're basically practicing the way that you are going to test. Plus, it gives you a video breakdown of volume 1, like all those extra practice problems and the quiz. So all of that, okay, usually recommended. for most if you just want to find a place to start. Now, if you click on it, you can scroll. If you notice you can scroll and get all the information before you buy. I'd rather you ask me questions if you have any kind of hesitation before you buy. I don't want you to buy stuff and then have it sit, okay? All of these are like digital. Yes. Definitely for your daughter. Yes, that would be perfect. Okay, so if you want to get with that first one, again, it's the link in my bio. Kind of went back a little too far. If you want, I have all of those bundles. Okay, now this is my complete set that's right here. Okay, so that's all of my video, all my ebooks, all of them. I have 10 books total. Then you'll get 2 practice exam books, one for ASVAB, one for the GED ASVAB combo. And then you will also get the video explanation of all books. So that means all extra practice problems, all the practice problems, like the extra books that I'm giving you. I actually sat down and broke down, just like how I did this morning, all of the books. So you will get everything. When I say you get everything, it's almost like you got me at any time. You don't have to worry about getting a tutor. You got me. Just push play. Like that's all you had to do. All right. So everything is in there if that's what you want. But if you just want to do the individual books, like if you want to focus on what we did today, which is slope, and you're like, I never could get slope, you can buy the individual book. Okay. Again, you're going to get instant access because this is an e-book. Okay. You are not going to have anything delivered to your home. But if you want the physical books, again, you guys can stroll on through just like as much as I'm doing. But if you want any of the physical books, you come all the way down at the end. I know, it's like forever and a day. Okay? Right here where it says physical books on the A. So this is where you can go. So once you click on this, you can shop on all the physical books. So blurry. All right? If you just click on that, it will take you to a landing page that has all of the books in detail. So if you're like, okay, what's volume 1? You can read up on there. Notice the price of the physical books, okay? The reason why is I print them off on color paper or using color ink, and as well as there's a lot of pages. So that's why it has to compensate for it. Trust me, I only see $4 from each book, but that's all right. As long as that's what you want to do. So it gives you a description of each of the volumes. And my suggestion, it'll be cool to do the ebooks. 1 is a little bit cheaper, and 2, you don't have to wait for shipping. You don't have to wait for anything, but at least it gives you the description of all 10 of the books. Okay? So then you will have that, and if you want any of my resources, you can also come down here. You can just click on the bottom part, and it will take you all the resources that I generally use. Okay, so today I didn't use any of the cards, but all the resources are there. Okay, so everything that you see comes directly from my Stan Store. Now, if you have questions, please, I'm saying this, please, if you do have questions, don't just buy things just to buy. I know a lot of people were into impulse buying. And you're like, if I don't do it now, Audrey, I'm going to forget. Okay, fine, go. If you feel comfortable with it, that's what you want, go. But if you're saying, hey, Audrey, I have a child that is going into high school, and I'm really nervous about this, what would you suggest that she'll do over the summer? And I can give you a great suggestion. It might be just a summer starter. If you want to progress to the next part, you can. So it's not like I'm pressuring you. I just want to make sure that you're getting the right resources that you need to apply to the next part. It's all about what you need. And that's why I named it Algebra at Your Pace. All you have to do, if you want to do math at 2 o'clock in the morning, who am I to judge? Go ahead. Hell, I was doing this at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not even worrying about that. Okay, so if you want to, you can just scan, you can watch the video, take down notes. That's a huge emphasis that I would like to say to all students. Stop relying on your teachers and thinking that you're going to remember everything. You're not. Write down notes. And I also have math notebooks that is designed for math students. All right. There we go. Okay. So if you have any questions, let me know. Think about it. Take a look. My suggestion, do the free one. Do the freebie. Okay, see where you are math-wise. And if you're really ready to go to the next part, then go to the next part. The stamp store is going to be there waiting for you to do whatever you need to do. Okay? All right? Any questions? And if you do, just go ahead. Oh, right here. You just had to hit my profile, hit my face, and then just basically just ask me a question. Even if we're not friends yet, request it. Put your information in there. Don't just say hi. Just tell me, what is it that you're taking? What class are you taking? What course are you taking? What test are you taking? And like basically, how are you preparing for it? All right. Okay. All right, everyone. All right, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be here this afternoon because I actually have tutoring, but please, I'm going to be checking in here and there for my messages. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and message me. Even if it's tutoring for a younger kid, I don't really do younger. The youngest I'll do is 7th grade. But if you do have anybody that's in 3rd and 4th grade, I do have friends that tutor as well, and they are also here on TikTok, so I can guide you into the right direction. Okay? No problem, True. So I'm here. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Make sure you guys follow me, okay? Follow me and then hit the notification so you'll know when the next time I go live, all right? It's definitely going to be tomorrow morning, but I don't think I'm going to have any time this afternoon unless I have a cancellation.